Hey everyone, Ed here. I just came out of watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I have a lot of feelings about this movie. Not all of them good, mostly good, mostly positive. I do want to get that out of the way. I do recommend this movie. This is a hell of a movie, a hell of a summer blockbuster. It's the kind of stuff that you want out of a summer blockbuster movie, right? By which I mean the action sequences are top notch. They're very well realized, very well shot, very well conceptualized, and overall the movie is absolutely beautiful. Wes Ball has said a lot about taking inspiration from James Cameron in Avatar and the way that he sort of conceptualized this movie and the way that he shot it, and you can totally feel it. This does feel, especially like the climactic scene, the third act, like it really does feel like James Cameron level like filmmaking in terms of like mastery of sort of the craft, right? This is, cinema firing off on all cylinders in the way that James Cameron kind of does it expertly. It's a hell of an experience. And, one of the things that I really liked about, especially Avatar: The Way of Water, was that in this insanely expensive movie, there's like an hour of it that's basically just like a family drama. There's nothing spectacular going on. It's literally just drama, and it's very good drama. And there is a stretch of film. There's a stretch of this film that is where it's just slows down and develops its characters and its themes, and it really allows you to soak it in, to take it in, and to really sort of live with it. It allows you to really sort of reflect on what's going on in this movie outside of just like the spectacle, outside of just the story. It is a very long sequence, actually, surprisingly long, but it's also probably like some of the best stuff in this movie in terms of developing its sort of central idea. And that's another thing too that's really great about this movie. This movie has something to say. This movie has an idea that it's getting across, and that it's exploring very well. And that's something that is really surprising for this type of movie. It is a very long movie. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes, and you do feel it. And I'll get to that in a little bit. That's not to say that it's a bad thing, right? Because considering what this movie is trying to do, what it's trying to set up, like you need that. You need the time, and you need that sort of patient approach. And I really do think that Wes Ball here as a director, I know he's made other movies before this, but I think this is not like his debut movie or anything. But this is a breakout movie. This is like the introduction of one of what could be, ideally, one of our better blockbuster filmmakers. He could be the Matt Reeves of this generation of, the 2020s and stuff. I think he very much is on the level of Dawn and War. The performances here are also fantastic, and the animation too. Like there's a lot of really good just craftsmanship going on here. Very fucking well realized and all that. I do highly recommend this movie. Not just for people who want to go, for a blockbuster, because frankly, if you just want like a movie that you're just gonna go watch, shut your brain off and all that, this is not it. This is not a movie that's asking you to shut your brain off. This is a movie that is engaging with you on an intellectual level and on an emotional level too, and definitely on a spectacle level. I don't want to undersell it here. This movie chooses its action very carefully, and in terms of like where they place it for maximum impact. Every time the shit hits the fan in this movie, you really feel it, and it really it's really just like I said earlier, like the stuff of great blockbusters. It's the kind of stuff that you want in it, Unfortunately, it is a very uneven movie. As much as I do enjoy that long sequence where the movie just kind of slows down and allows us to sort of take in the world and not just visually but thematically. As much as I did like that, it had a detrimental effect. It had a very detrimental effect, I think, in the overall picture, because the movie hits all those notes, and you know, all the high notes is what I'm trying to get at here. Like all the big blockbustery high notes, it hits them very well. The thing is that the movie takes its time, not just in that sequence, but throughout it, and it does sort of disperse and diffuse some of the momentum in a lot of ways, you know, and in ways that I think if you enjoy, if you're looking for more than just a blockbuster, you're gonna appreciate. But there are certainly moments where I did start to feel a little bit of the length, and it started to sort of work against the movie. And another thing that I didn't, that the kind of my biggest issue with the movie, right, is that there is a character, the human character, who is very surprising, and throughout the movie, and honestly, as much as I'm going to lay a lot of the problems with her thematically here, her arc is phenomenal. What they're doing with her character is absolutely, like, if taken on its own, right? Taken on its own, as say this movie exists in a vacuum, what they do with her in this movie is phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's top notch. The problem is, this is the fourth movie in a series, right? And in a series that has, in the first three movies, worked very hard to get to a very specific point. And my biggest problem with the human character, and again, this is my biggest mixed feeling, is in the character of Nova, is that, like, as fantastic as her arc is, as well written as it is, and as interesting as it is, right? It is sort of like taking all the progress of the first three movies and just like clawing it and dragging it back to a place that's just a little bit too familiar. And it's a little disappointing. You know, given how much imagination is in every other aspect of this movie, how interesting this whole movie is, that it's all in service of, I wouldn't say dragging it back to square one. It's a little more interesting than that. It's a little more thematically rich than that. But it is definitely clawing it back in a way that, like, is a little disappointing. And that's not to say that, like, it's not worth taking this journey on, because I do feel like Wes Ball establishes himself as a director well enough that I think he's... And by the way, and it's not definitive, by the way. It's not definitive in terms of, like, if it really truly is dragging everything back. I do think that Wes Ball has the capacity here to, you know, with a little more discipline, because this is a shabby movie. Like I said, it does drag a little bit. But with a little discipline, I really do think that he, in the next movie, if he makes the next movies and all that, or even not, whoever's going to handle the next movie, he's given them a lot. He's given them a lot of interesting thematic and character work, and there's like this one, like, imagery. I don't want to spoil it, you know. There's this one image that they go back to that is very simple, and it's very thought-provoking in terms of where things are possibly going, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for what they're doing with the sort of broad strokes direction that they're taking this all in. It's very sci-fi. That's all I'll say. And not in the way that feels out of place or anything, right? Like, this is a Planet of the Apes movie. But it just did kind of feel like we're here again, you know? And for what this is, it's fine. It's good. It's well done. It's just a little disappointing that, like, this is where the movie chooses to stop being original and play it safe, you know? But overall, I think this is a fantastic movie. I think this is very much well worth watching. Watch it on the biggest screen possible. This movie definitely rewards a large format, because it is a very beautiful movie. You know, Wes Ball has talked a lot about, like, trying to mimic that James Cameron approach to CGI, and I think he does a very fantastic job. There's a lot of Avatar. there's a lot of Avatar here, not just in, like, inspiration, but it just like just say that there's a couple of sequences, there's some very exciting sequences that definitely feel like they're out of Avatar. Yeah, and I guess like one last sort of like down note that I have to say is that the central villain has presence. The dude has presence, but he comes so late into the movie, and we get so little of him that it's all broad strokes. It's effective broad strokes, but it's all broad strokes. But you know, I don't want to like end it all here like on a negative note, because again, like, watch this movie. Watch it in theaters. Watch it on the big screen. It's phenomenal, and it's the kind of movie that is complicated enough and that it's going to inspire a lot of conversation. And speaking of, like, if you've seen this movie, let's talk about it, because this is a movie that begs to be talked about. It's a movie that begs to be thought about, and there is a lot on this plate for the audience to pick at and to eat off of. In terms of like using a food metaphor, this movie's a whole ass meal, and it's a very delicious meal. That said, that's my review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Again, I really enjoyed it. Mixed feelings. I want to know what you have to say, so make sure you let me know in the comments. Until next time, peace.